Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. So I have been riding now for around 5 years and I've been lucky enough to ride with some really experienced mountain bikers who have helped me along the way with my progression and have given me some really useful tips. Now I want to share these with you guys, so this is my 6 tips that will hopefully improve your riding. The first tip before you've even got on your bike and started riding is to make sure that it is set up correctly, because if it isn't, it can actually cause you to make mistakes and potentially crash. There's been times in the past where I've been riding and my bike's not been set up correctly and I've thought it was because of something that I was doing wrong, whereas all of that could have been avoided if I'd have just gone over my bike and set it up. Things to look out for then when you're setting up your bike is your tyre pressures and your suspension. Now these come under the same umbrella because when you're riding downhill you want them to be a little bit softer so that you can get maximum grip and so that they can absorb all of the bumps. But if you're riding more jumps and kickers, then you want it to be a little bit stiffer so that you don't squirm up the lips. The other thing you need to check is the positioning of all of your levers. You want to make sure they're in the right position and they're comfortable. Also as well, your saddle. So if you're riding more downhill or hitting jumps, then you want your saddle to be as low as possible so that it doesn't hit you and send you over the bars. But if you're riding more long distance, then you obviously want it to be a little bit higher up so that you can get maximum pedal strokes. And then after that, you're pretty much ready to hit the trails. It's also important that you've got the correct protective gear on, as this will give you the confidence to go and send it. Let's move on to the next one. The second tip is to do all of your braking before a turn. Now I really struggle with cornering, and sometimes the more you try with this, the worse you actually are at it. Generally speaking, the quicker you go into a corner, the worse the outcome is going to be, because you panic, you pull the brakes, you could slip, and even worse, you could end up shooting out the top of a berm. So the best thing to do with this is to do all your braking before the turn, so you've got the bike nicely set up and just flow round the corner. And actually you'll find that you tend to go quicker by using this method. The reason that braking before a turn is better is because the bike is upright, so you can apply more pressure to the brakes and the bike will get more grip and stop quicker, whereas when you're in the corner, the bike is at an angle, and depending on what line you're in, if you're at the bottom of a berm, there's a lot of loose stuff there, and if you're braking on that, the bike will slide and you could potentially crash. This takes time to perfect, but the thing that was the easiest to do to learn this technique was to go really slow and then gradually build up on your speed, but without braking, until you get to the point where you're going quick enough that you feel you need to brake, because at that point you know that you're going your maximum. The third tip is to look ahead. Now it's only natural as a beginner rider to fixate on your front wheel and what's directly in front of you and not look at what's coming. Now the areas of riding where this is important is going uphill, because when you're riding uphill you could come across something that you need to change down a gear for to be able to get up, and if you're in the wrong gear, what this will cause is you to stumble, put your foot down and potentially crash. The second area of riding where looking ahead is important is when you're going downhill. Now this is mainly down to picking the right line to be quicker down the hill, but it's also really important because if you're not looking ahead, you might not see what's coming, so that might be a drop or a big jump, and if you see it too late, you could slam on the brakes and it could be a big crash. The final area of riding where this is important is when you're riding berms and hitting jumps. Now I came to the realisation that this was important when we were at Bike Park Wales and I was trying to ride the Zoute Lors line, and I was looking down, not looking ahead, and therefore I wasn't picking the right lines around the berms to carry the speed to enable me to clear the jump. Also with berms, where you look is generally where you go, so if you're looking for the exit, the bike will pull you round the corner. Tip number 4, and this is to ride in the attack position. Now this is when your knees and your elbows are bent and you're ready to take on whatever is coming. Now this is important because as a beginner it's so easy to be really floppy or stiff, and if you're riding a jump then you're not ready to take on the impact of hitting a ramp, and that could potentially lead to doing a nosedive. This is also beneficial when riding downhill, because when your knees and your elbows are bent, it means that you're ready to absorb any impacts and bumps down the trail, and this could also mean that your feet won't come off and it will avoid any crashes. Tip number 5, and that is to ride with people that are better riders than you. There is so much to learn from other people, and it's really beneficial because if you're scared about hitting a feature or you don't know the speed, then they can tow you in, and also they can give you tips and advice on how to improve. There's so many different ride groups out and about, and there's way more events popping up as well where you can attend to meet other people or even watch them, because everyone has their own different riding style which you can take bits from and apply to your own riding. You can even get people to film you riding so that you can look and see for yourself exactly where you're going wrong. I've filmed my whole entire riding journey, and it's been so beneficial to me because when I did the Phoenix Kicker just recently and I didn't do it the first time round, I got home and when I was editing that video I could see exactly that I had the right amount of speed, so that gave me confidence to go back there for the next time and hit it. Tip number 6 is to not forget the basics. No matter how good of a rider you are, it's still really important to strip it back and keep practicing the basic skills, because these make up the main bulk of your riding. Practicing things like track stands and endos are skills that certainly shouldn't be overlooked because they benefit your riding way more than you think, and practice certainly does make perfect. For myself, when we had the Tompound and I was trying to get down the roll-in, there wasn't much space up on the deck. Now, that's where the track stand really helped, because I had to get up on the pedals first, balance, and then roll in. So what I did to help with that was practice the track stand, and I also done setups similar where there was less risk of falling off a huge tower. I know I said we had 6 tips, but I've actually got a bonus one which I want to share with you guys, and that is to accept the bad days. Not every day you're going to be riding 100% and feeling on top of your game, and there'll be times as well where you'll go and do something that you've done in the past but you can't do it that particular day. It goes up and down, but it's really important that you accept that and that you don't base your ability off that one day. There we go then, those are my tips on how to become a better rider that I have learned over the years of progressing on my mountain bike. I hope you guys have taken something from this video, and if you have, please give us a thumbs up, leave your comments down below, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye!
Yeah, I'm about to fade away, cause every time I wake up I feel like it's Monday. Something's going wrong with all the chemicals up in my brain. All of a sudden I don't look at anything the same way. Gotta build up of my thoughts sitting in an ashtray. I'm sorry that I'm so inconvenient, okay? Just let me be me and I'll stay out of your way.